Rising before this week's trading. The NFL playoffs are set. The Pittsburgh Steelers got the last spot last night, beating Baltimore 26-24, when the Ravens missed the last-second field goal, giving the Steelers the AFC North title. Carolina won the NFC South after Atlanta beat New Orleans. Then the Falcons fired their head coach and their general manager, and moments ago, there are multiple reports the Cleveland Browns have fired. This is Viewpoint, a presentation of the News and Public Affairs Department of AM 1490 WHTV. We welcome your input on the issues of the day. You can contact us on the Viewpoint line by calling 875-1490. The opinions expressed by our callers and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the management and staff of AM 1490 WHTV. And now, here's today's Viewpoint.
And good morning and welcome in to the Monday morning Viewpoint for this Monday morning, January the 5th, 2026, the first Viewpoint of 2026. Good morning. Happy New Year to you. Randy Williams, your host, 334-875-1490 and 1492 are the numbers to call if you have comments or questions. And you can also join us live on YouTube on the selmapostherald.com YouTube channel. And how was your New Year's Eve and New Year's Day and New Year's weekend? Certainly hope it was well. My condolences to so many people, it seems, over the last few weeks. Again, from Christmas to really from Thanksgiving through New Year's, it seems that the loss of loved ones and funerals and deaths are really amplified this time of year. And we've lost a lot of people. Of course, my condolences again to Linda Lowry's friends and family, as we lost her, one of the foot soldiers from the Selma to Montgomery march. She actually marched all the way to Montgomery from Selma in 1965 during the Selma to Montgomery March. And we also lost two former broadcasters, Wayne Sharp and Reverend Will Jackson. He wasn't always Reverend, but he towards the end, he was Reverend Will Jackson over at Summer Grove. And so my condolences to the Summer Grove family and his family and friends, and the same with my old comrade Wayne Sharp. And so many other people passed away. And so I know that there's a lot of people in mourning, but, I always try and encourage people to don't let it depress you. It's a part of life. And, our loved ones would not want us to be too sad. You know what I mean? Not unhealthily sad. So now, boy, I'm telling you, we've been having, this weekend, there was a lot of events, of course, that took place. I don't know if anyone was really expecting President Trump to do what they did, or shall I say we did, over the weekend, as the leader of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, was taken into custody, and his wife seized overnight from their home on a military base. And, for the last several weeks, or really months, there's been speculation about if the United States would put boots on the ground in Venezuela. And so that's the answer. And if you recall, there's been a lot of back and forth dialogue there's been some dialogue between President Trump and Mr. Maduro. And they could not come to an agreement. And even after having been warned that something would happen, now we know that the, I guess you could say, backup plan was to get him into custody. No one on the United States side was injured seriously. No deaths. There have been, I think, about a dozen deaths reported of Cubans and Venezuelan soldiers who were protecting Maduro. And so there's obviously there was a strong tie between Cuba and the former president of Venezuela. And so all kinds of reaction along partisan line, basically, except for Mr. Federer, the senator from Pennsylvania. He says he thought that it was an appropriate action. You know, what I find interesting about it all, Venezuela and Ukraine. I watched some of the NCIS series, NCIS Miami and NCIS New Orleans, and the original NCIS, and a couple of other crime stories and series. And for the last 10 years, I think I saw a program that was about 10 years old recently, before all of this even happened. And guess what countries come up on a regular basis that they write about in terms of espionage and covert operations between the United States and who? Venezuela and Ukraine. Surprise, surprise. I wonder why there's such a history of tension and criminal accusations and cover-ups and political scandals, and that always involves Venezuela and Ukraine. I don't know the answer, but what my point is, this hasn't just started, to the point of where it's written about and dramatized right before our eyes on television for the last decade or two. Is that coincidence? Things that make me go, that's really something to think about. Let's take this break, and I got some other things to kind of recap a little bit right after this.
We're with Mary Parker and our friends at Reliable Chevrolet and GMC in Selma, serving the area for 80 years. And it's a brand new year, Barry. That's right, George. It's hard to believe that 2026 is here, but we're ready to kick it off and get it started. So we invite you to come down and see us in the market for a new Chevrolet or GMC. We have got the inventory from trucks, from your small trucks all the way up to the heavy duty. Same thing with your SUVs, whatever you're looking for when it comes to a new Chevrolet or GMC. We invite you to come by and see us. Of course, when you're talking about new Chevrolets and new GMCs, you've got to be talking about everything from the Trax to the Equinox, right? And that is correct, and all the way up to the Yukons and Tahoes, Suburban, Yukon XLs. Folks, whatever you're looking for when it comes to a new Chevrolet or GMC, we invite you to come by and see us. Barry, when you're talking about reliable, you're talking about great service with just about any name brand that needs service. You can do it all except for warranty work on the non-GM brands. Right? That's right. Warranty or recalls we can't do on non-GM product, but everything else from oil change, tire rotation, new tires, brake batteries, belts, hoses, transmission, engine, whatever you're driving, we want to do your service work right here. And George, don't forget about the free oil change when you get to that fifth oil change. We want to get to know you and your family. We want you to become part of the Reliable family here at Reliable Chevrolet GMC, located in downtown Selma, 14 Florence Street. Stop by and see us, or give us a call, 872-2337, or check us out on our website at reliablegmc.com.
Yeah, it's me, your heart. Listen to me. We've got to talk. High blood pressure is serious, and yours? Whoa. What happened to us? We used to be so much more active, but lately you've been ignoring me. I know you think I'm just going to keep ticking away forever, but you're wrong. You can do so much more to control your high blood pressure. Doing the minimum isn't doing enough. I'm under a lot of pressure and can quit whenever I want. I bet you didn't know that. But I like my job. Just treat me better. Check on me. Give me something green to nibble on every once in a while. And maybe we can do some exercise on occasion. Let's get to it. After all, we're in this together.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check.
1490 WHBB. Good morning. On this Monday morning, January 5th, 2026. And of course, January is one of those months where a lot of history took place in Selma. Actually, January the 2nd was the January 2nd, 1965 was when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made his first speech at Brown Chapel AME Church to launch the voting rights campaign in Selma. And then on January the 4th, 1965, President Lyndon Baines Johnson addressed a joint session of Congress and outlined his great society. And now the full speech, of course, was long, but I'm going to play about a 4-minute segment that outlines him as he addressed Congress and the nation, as he's talking about his great society.
The Great Society asked not how much, but how good. Not only how to create wealth, but how to use it. Not only how fast we're going, but where we're headed. It proposes as the first test for a nation the quality of its people. This kind of society will not flower spontaneously from swelling riches and surging power. It will not be the gift of government or the creation of presidents. It will require of every American for many generations both faith in the destination and the fortitude to make the journey. And like freedom itself, it will always be challenge and not fulfillment. And tonight, we accept that challenge. I propose that we begin a program in education to ensure every American child the fullest development of his mind and skills. I propose that we begin a massive attack on crippling and killing diseases. I propose that we launch a national effort to make the American city a better and a more stimulating place to live. I propose that we increase the beauty of America and end the poisoning of our rivers and the air that we breathe. I propose that we carry out a new program to develop regions of our country that are now suffering from distress and depression. I propose that we make new efforts to control and prevent crime and delinquency. I propose that we eliminate every remaining obstacle to the right and the opportunity to vote. I propose that we honor and support the achievements of thought and the creations of art. I propose that we make an all-out campaign against waste and inefficiency. Our basic task is threefold. First, to keep our economy growing. To open for all Americans the opportunity that is now enjoyed by most Americans. And to improve the quality of life for all. In the next 6 weeks, I will submit special messages with detailed proposals for national action in each of these areas.
And that was President Johnson on January 4th, 1965. The heart of his campaign called the Great Society. Now, many people have criticized the Great Society and have said that it is one of the reasons why we have some of the problems that we have, because it ushered in, it took welfare to another level. And it appears that simultaneously with the advent of the Great Society, there's also an increase in crime in the urban areas. There's a lot of different movements that were seething underneath the surface, including feminism was on the rise, sexual preferences and freedom, the sexual revolution was going on. The freedom movement was happening. The voting rights movement was taking off. All these things were going on simultaneously. And so, and you know, prayer taken out of the schools. And so all these things have resulted in where we are today. All that is open for debate amongst intellectuals and students of history and historians about why this and why that. But I do find it interesting that some of the same issues that President Johnson was attempting to address in 1965, we're still dealing with, still trying to get a handle on. And of course, January 15th, 1929 is the birth date for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And now we celebrate his holiday nationally. It's a national holiday. This year, it will be Monday, January 19th. Safe Haven Center, for the last 26 years, has been doing a Stop the Violence rally on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. They do a march in a caravan from Brown Chapel AME Church, and this year will be the same from 12 noon until 2 p.m. I'm going to play an excerpt or two from Dr. King so we can be reminded of what he was all about, you know? But let's take this break. I'll be back with more right after this.
Your course schedule for the fall? Yep. Let me see here. English, good. Chemistry, trigonometry, excellent. World history, I love world history. Baseball? Wait, baseball? Baseball isn't a course, honey.
So sure it is, Mom. High school sports are about so much more than winning and losing. They teach lessons that can't be taught in the classroom, like accountability and self-discipline, the value of teamwork. I may not be earning a grade, but I'm learning how to compete later in life. Isn't that what getting a good education is all about?
Yes, of course it is. I was just testing you.
What can teenagers here in Alabama learn from participating in high school sports? Plenty, as it turns out. That's why they're called education-based athletics.
High school sports. There's so much more than just a game.
This message presented by the Alabama High School Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Coaches Association.
About that day when we will be victimized with what is life's final common denominator. That's something we call death.
1939. He's not a handyman.
We all think about it, and every now and then I think about my own death, and I think about my own funeral, and I don't think of it in a morbid sense. Every now and then I ask myself, what is it that I would want to say, and I leave the word to you this morning. If any of you are around, when I have to meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get somebody to deliver the eulogy, tell them not to talk. Every now and then I wonder what I want them to say. Tell them not to mention that I have a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. Tell them not to mention that I have 300 or 400 other awards. That's not important. Tell them not to mention where I went to school. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to say that day that I tried to be right on the walk. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to call those who were naked. I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of the other shallow things will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I won't have the fine and luxurious things of life to leave behind. But I just want to leave a committed life behind. And that's all I want to say. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word of song, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian, if I can bring salvation to a world once wrong, if I can spread the message as the Master taught, then my living will not be in vain. Yes, Jesus, I want to be on your right or your left side. Not for any selfish reason. I want to be on your right or your left side, not in terms of some political kingdom or ambition, but I just want to be there in love and in justice and in truth, in commitment to others so that we can make of this old world a new world.
Some clouds tomorrow, but still warm with a high of 72. Staying cloudy tomorrow night, mid-50s, and a 20% chance of a shower.
The Great Society asks not
we
how
return
much,
to partly sunny skies Wednesday, still warm though, with a high in the mid-70s. Clouds Wednesday night, mid-50s. Thursday, more clouds, mid-70s, another 20% chance of a scattered shower. That's a look at your latest weather forecast. We appreciate you listening in to Selma's Information and Entertainment Station, AM 1490, W.
1490 WHBB. Good morning on this January the 5th, 2026. Randy Williams with you until 9 o'clock this morning. Viewpoint, you're on the air. Oh, hold on. Okay, sorry. Viewpoint, you're on the air. All right, 334 875-1490 and 1492 are the numbers to call. If you have comments or questions, Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Good morning, Tommy.
Good morning. How are you?
Happy New Year's to you.
Happy New Year's to you.
I heard you said you were going to play some boxing. And before you do, I just wanted to ask you, how do you feel about what the Trump administration did over the weekend?
You mean with Venezuela?
Yes.
I don't know. Again, I see things a little differently because the nature of power and nations. And again, earlier I said, in fact, before all that went down, I saw a few old NCISs and a few other old series dating 10 years back, and their topic of conversation were two countries, Ukraine and Venezuela. And they've been having covert operations between those, and Cuba, of course. We know about Cuba. That's been going on for decades. So I don't know what to think. I think that, each president, each administration, each party have their own priorities, and they do what they do. And, I don't know what's going on that level, and I'm not going to try and second guess any of them. At the end of the day, whatever it takes to keep the nation safe.
Well, the thing about it is this, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's illegal for any nation to go in and kidnap the leader of another nation. And me personally, I told you this a couple of months ago. It wasn't about no drugs in the beginning. Trump and his whole administration has said it the whole weekend, including yesterday on Air Force One. It's about the oil. That's what it was. And to me, Maduro, he's not a good person. He's not this, he's not that, but he was the leader of that country.
Now that is open for debate, because I found what I do find interesting is the Venezuelans are celebrating, and the people who are complaining are people who are not from Venezuela. But the people who are originally from Venezuela are saying he was not the elected president anyway. He seized power. So go on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, that's true. Now, they say he stole an election or whatever, but he was the sitting president. He was in power. Now, I don't understand what you're saying right now, because Trump tried the same thing that he did. But now Trump didn't work out, but he did. But the thing about it is I told you 2 months ago, it ain't about blowing up no boats out in the middle of the ocean. It was about the oil. And now, Trump said it in public. Haven't you heard it?
Well, again, that's his prerogative as president. Every president has their own priorities and agenda, and that's that. To the victor goes the spoils.
He is breaking the law. He didn't go to Congress trying to get this authorized.
He is exercising his right as presidential powers, and you would have to debate the Supreme Court about that.
Well, I tell you, Democrats get back in power. We will debate all this stuff. Republicans just find this. I mean, this man said on TV yesterday.
You just made my point. It's partisan politics. I'm neither. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm not even independent. I'm nonpartisan. To me, it's all in capital letters BS.
So what he said on the plane yesterday, getting back to Washington, comes to fruition, comes true.
Well, the only thing I heard him say, I didn't watch it. I don't really watch it like that, but I did hear him say, "Don't ask the question if you don't want to hear the answer." So they asked him anyway, and that's his answer. What you gonna do?
Wait a minute. What if we keep doing that? You be all right with that, too?
Look, again, what he's really doing. If as a student of history, I am reminded of some of the original positions that put America first in terms of global leadership, what made America take the leadership role. He's going back to political basics.
Colonizing.
No. Well, anyway, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. I got some other folks, trying to get through. Let's see what some other folks think. Thank you for calling. Happy New Year. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Baby, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. You know, he didn't have to go to Congress for approval because it was not a military action. It was a police action. The DEA and the FBI were present there to arrest him. All the military did was assist them in the arrest of a fugitive that had warrants out for his arrest. So, you know, technically he didn't have to go to Congress. It was not an act of war. It was a warrant being served. And if you notice, the DEA and the FBI were there. They had their tactical gear on that said DEA. They went to arrest Maduro for outstanding warrants in New York. He and his wife brother. So technically, he did not have to go to Congress for anything.
Well, if you know this partisan environment that we're in, it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter what President Trump does. The majority of Democrats are going to try and find a way to degrade it and to make it look bad because they're trying to get back in power. For me, it's as simple as that. They don't care if he's right or wrong.
The Biden administration said that he was not the duly elected president of Venezuela, and so did Trump.
And we know the woman that just got the Nobel Peace Prize from Venezuela was in hiding because her life had been threatened because she was the one that the people wanted as president. Nobody's saying anything about that.
Well, you know, I saw something yesterday. The reason why Maduro was stalling so much was that, you know, all the voting booths that they had problems with, and they talked about the voting machines being hacked and they had problems with during the 2020 election. You know where they were manufactured?
Don't tell me Venezuela.
Venezuela.
I don't mean to laugh, but that's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? That's ridiculous.
Well, they were, but that's the problem. I mean, but anyway, yeah, you set it all up. They took American assets, American companies' assets 20 years ago, took them away. And Trump is going to give them back what they lost. Venezuela's been selling oil to all our enemies, to Iran, they back Iran, China, Russia, and you know, I don't have a problem with it. If he takes that oil money and gives it back to the people and helps straighten that country out, I think it's a great thing. I think he's a proactive president. Nobody else had the courage. And I want to tell you something else. Leaders of other countries, some of these bad actors are going to see this, and they're going to crawl back in their hole, Andy. When they see what the American military can do with proper planning and execution, it's unbelievable. I tell you what, he sat down there hollering and said, "Come get me, come get me." I wish
he said, "Be careful what you ask for, huh? You might get it." Well, and that's where you're right. You make an excellent point that, you know, and I think that's also the point that President Trump was trying to make in the statement that was made, is that the United States we still have the strongest military on earth.
We do, and right now we've got an administration that has the courage to use that when it's necessary, and not like previous ones. But anyway, you know, to shut off the drugs, look at all that they've done as far as shutting off the drugs, the fentanyl coming across the border. You know, there's so many positive things that he has done, and they wouldn't give credit to Santa Claus.
No, I want to hear more about Epstein. I don't want to hear about anything good that's going on. We want to hear about Epstein, you know, and how many young girls and celebrities he had. And even though we can't attach We've already cleared, even the critics have cleared President Trump, but that's not the point. We don't need to be thinking about any progress that's being made.
Well, they're not going to talk about progress, Randy, because it makes it look good. Now, did you see that the governor of Minnesota withdrew from the next election?
I don't mean to laugh, but surprise, surprise, they're getting ready to go into hiding.
They're so corrupt, it's unbelievable. But a Democrat will never point another Democrat, because when they point at one, there's three fingers pointing back at them.
All right. Well, I've got some other folks trying to get through it. Thank you so much. Thank you for calling, and thank you for your comments, and Happy New Year to you. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
When that guy said it was ridiculous, about it was just a police operation or whatever this and all of it. We got a complete warship and all of its assets off the coast of Venezuela. And we got the military going in, boots on the ground. Don't tell me about no police operation, because if it was DEA or whatever, you know what I'm saying, they'd have went in and captured them themselves. We didn't need the military for that. So don't give me that stuff there. And it ain't about no drugs, it ain't about none of that stuff, it's about the oil. Now, Trump said that, yes, that was structure of all the oil rigging places and this and that and all over. Venezuela did kick them out after the census came. But the oil don't belong to the U.S. or nobody else. The oil belongs to Venezuela. Now, you shouldn't be thinking Trump said that they're not going to do for the people, this and that and all over. Man, they never did.
Well, let me ask you this, and then I need to play some of these these sound bites from Dr. King. But so why do you think that the Venezuelan people are rejoicing? You know, the scripture says when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. Why do you think they're glad to see Maduro go?
Why do you think they're in protest against Trump?
Oh, no. The protests are not from Venezuelans. It's from everybody else in the normal players who are Trump haters anyway. Why are the Venezuelan people, why are they rejoicing? Why are they dancing in the streets? You don't care why. That's the whole point. Nobody cares about the people. We only care about our agenda.
Why are the Americans protesting Trump?
I'm not thinking about America. Why are the Venezuelans happy? What about the Venezuelans? What about the people?
No, because they don't like the guy. All right. Now, he's got a power to true it up, but the way they did it is not the right way. Now, the thing about it is, Trump is in power, and people protest him.
Well, that's everybody's. We have to thank God. We have a right to protest, and we have freedom of speech. Thank you for calling, and thank you for your comments. Before I run out of time, I do want to play this excerpt, this soundbite from Dr. King. You know, because as we get into all of these different discussions, and I see all the paid people that are protesting, and these are people that are being paid to protest. Dr. King's folks were not being paid to protest. You know what I mean? He lost his life trying to empower the common man. And but before he died, he gave one message called his own eulogy. And I think it kind of describes who he is and what he was about and what he was trying to, and the purpose and what he was all about. But let's listen. This is one of my favorite sound bites from Dr. King, because he reminds us of the importance of the power of love and unselfishness. And that's the message nobody wants to touch. That's why all the murdering and the stabbing and the killing and the, you name it, huh? So let's listen to what Dr. King tried to remind us about before he died.
And I guess all think richly about that day when we will be victimized with what is life's final common denominator. That's something that we call death. We all think about it, and every now and then I think about my own death, and I think about my own funeral, and I don't think of it in a morbid sense. Every now and then I ask myself, what is it that I would want said? And I leave the word to you this morning. If any of you are around when I have to meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get somebody to deliver the eulogy, tell them not to talk too long. And every now and then I wonder what I want them to say. Tell them not to mention that I have a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. Tell them not to mention that I have 300 or 400 other awards. That's not important. Tell them not to mention where I went to school. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to say that day that I tried to be right on the war question. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to clothe those who were naked. I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of the other shallow things will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I won't have the fine and luxurious things of life to leave behind. But I just want to leave a committed life behind. And that's all I want to say. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word of song, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian ought, if I can bring salvation to a world once wrought, if I can spread the message as the Master taught, then my living will not be in vain. Yes, Jesus, I want to be on your right or your left side. Not for any selfish reason. I want to be on your right or your left side, not in terms of some political kingdom or ambition, but I just want to be there in love and in justice and in truth and in commitment to others so that we can make of this old world a new world.
And that's Dr. King, So when I see all these so-called protests, and then you come to find out that the protests that they're doing are people who are being paid to march. Did you hear anything in that his own eulogy that was profane? Did you hear him talk about any form of violence? Knock them upside the head, kill them, shoot them, mass shootings, do this, do that, do that. Whatever we have to do to get what we want. That was not his method. And that was why he was effective. And this is why they're not effective. And so, I look at the prism, the view of the world, of knowing that it's worldly. That's the bottom line. And scripture says man's imagination is evil from his youth. And, so we're not going to, Jesus Christ couldn't change us. Some of us. So I can't, huh? Let me say good morning to Reverend B.L. Tucker. Reverend Tucker once was charged with protecting Dr. King's life. And a lot of times Reverend Tucker doesn't get the credit that he deserves, but that's all right because we're going to give it to him anyway. And all these fake hypocrites that are the first ones to run in front of the cameras who haven't done anything, hey, Reverend Tucker is a man that still is walking the walk. Viewpoint, you're on the air. Happy New Year.
How's it going?
I'm doing fine. How are your holidays?
Well, it came and went.
They weren't long enough, huh?
It wasn't long enough.
I know that's right. I could use a few more days too. I'll tell you. What's going on?
I'll tell you what. People that have started to growl and grumble and everything gonna think about that, Mr. Trump ain't doing nothing for the country. 2 years ago, Wayne told me that they ain't gonna need trucks. Now, first, they need trucks. It wasn't brand new, but it was brand new to me. When I got that truck, it took me over $100 to fill that tank up. Now, the thing about it is, it won't run with a flip on regular or premium. I mean, it's got to be the high octane 93 stuff. It ain't gonna turn back here, it's about $4 or something a gallon. And it took me about $120 to fill out.
Golly, my goodness.
Now, thing about it is, I filled that tank up last week. And it took me less than $100.
Yeah, but we don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about something else, because the price of gas is down and the price of eggs is down significantly. But all of it cut in half. But we don't want to talk about that, because that would be too much like telling the truth.
Yeah, and also I hear a bunch of how black folks got to take care of their own. So how come there's so many guys got there begging? I've come across 5 people within the last weekend holding up their hand by hand, got signed by head out of here. I'm hungry. I'm needing food. I'm needing money for food. I'm needing money for this. I'm needing money for that. And black folks by head need fine rats, cars by head, just go right on by. Now, who's lying?
Well, somebody get mad with you for telling the truth. If it wasn't for the Edmond Knights and the Bosco Center, and I will give credit to a Gospel Tabernacle Church, the Graysons, they're a black organization, but there's very few that are doing the charge. Did you feed the hungry and clothe the naked and visit the sick and visit those who are in prison? Very few people actually practice that in their ministries.
Yeah. I mean, people bad talk about how bad Trump is and how he's trying to be a dictator toward Venezuela and everything. Oh, no. If they ain't going to, if idiot bag is supposed to be in charge of Venezuela, but he will do right by the dang on people, he wouldn't have no trouble. Venezuela has got the fifth richest country in crude oil, but there is. And how come people by head out of here is running away from the country? This is like Mexico. They won't allow them by head of have firearms by head to protect yourself. Why? Because by head, if you have a country that the citizens are legally bound by head to have arms to protect yourself, and then somebody wants to be a dictator, I get a pretty good suspicion by it. That ain't gonna do, but it ain't gonna be around. Too dang going on. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no doubt. That's why the Venezuelans are dancing in the streets, because they couldn't get rid of Maduro. But so now he's gone, and they're dancing in the streets. And everybody else in the world, we don't have to live in Venezuela. Why? It's not my. Why can't we be wanting to see the citizens of Venezuela be treated fairly and right? I don't get that.
Yeah, I mean that's the reason that you have a high population of Mexican Americans in the U.S. Because down in Mexico, even if you get caught by it with a dang on with a firearm by it, that's like over 100 years old, I said, if you kids have that thing in your possession, you go to jail.
Well, it's being reported that there are approximately 8 to 10 million Venezuelans who have migrated to the United States in the last 10 years because they were trying to escape Maduro's rule.
Well, you get a thing about Thomas dictated by here like the Venezuelans do down here, and I think even the dang Mexican people out there don't like the dang person that gets in charge now. So she's gonna be a bit better by it than the dang man people by it that she overtakes. What is it with these folks?
Well, I pray that they have an election. They said they're hoping to have an election within the next 90 days, and let the Venezuelan people choose who they want to rule over them, and not be smothered because really the drug cartels, the reason why they couldn't get rid of Maduro was because of his ties, I'm told, reportedly, with his ties with the drug cartels who are vicious, who chop people's heads off, decapitate them in order to make you do. You're going to do what I tell you to do. And if not, you and your whole family will disappear. When we call that justice. So. No, thank you. I know that's right. Well, look, we're running out of time. I got to take this last break, but it's good to hear from you. Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
You have a good day, young man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's take this last break, and I'll be back with more right after this.
Banking the way it should be at First Cahaba Bank means you never have to worry about the season or the weather with online banking. It's always there and always on, 24/7, 365, even on holidays.
I'm Richard Walters, president of First Cahaba Bank, here to let you know that all of our online banking resources have been invaluable to our First Cahaba customers. Although our lobbies are open, personal and business customers have discovered how convenient and easy it has become to manage financial resources without having to come inside the bank. And all of our online services, including the mobile banking app, are free. Visit firstcahaba.com to get all of the information, or feel free to call any of our locations in Selma, Troy, or Gulf Shores for any questions or information. Banking the way it should be at First Cahaba Bank means we are constantly focused on the very latest technology for customer convenience and overall satisfaction. We would love for you to join our growing community bank family. First Cahaba Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
How's your circulation? Do you suffer from fatigue, leg cramps, weakness, or pain in your legs when walking? Do you often have to stop and rest before you can continue? If so, you could be suffering from PAD, peripheral artery disease, blockages in your circulatory system. It may be time for you or your doctor to get in touch with Alabama Vascular Specialists. AVS is growing and serving our area with the most advanced vascular surgery and treatment available today. Dr. Ralph Red, Dr. Irwin White-Giddens, and Dr. Richard Tan are changing lives for the better when it comes to the vascular health of their patients. Other factors include high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, smoking, and high cholesterol, all big contributors to poor circulation and vascular problems, not to mention family history. AVS can help put you on the road to recovery. Offices in Montgomery and Selma. Call 334-801-9952 and online at alabamavascularspecialist.com. Graves on Broad has GE and Hot Point appliances in the store on the floor. Mattresses by Sealy and Ashley. Gorgeous furniture for every room in your home. And you might not have known, but Graves even has many one-of-a-kind estate pieces. Come check them out. And right now, take advantage of 12-month interest-free financing if you hurry. Miss Margaret and Miss Lisa would be delighted for you.
1490 WHBB. Let me say good morning to my sisters, Anza and Ivy, here visiting me. They were here for the weekend, and he came to help me clean up. They said, "Dog, you don't have a wife, but you got two sisters." I don't know which is not the worst. If the wife don't make you clean up, the sisters will come and help. But yeah, thank God for them. I'm so glad to see them and that they're here, and they'll be coming back and forth on a regular basis. But let me say good morning to them. And so as this year begins to unfold again on the well, first of all, today from 10 until 12 noon, let's show our love and support for the coffee shop, Reflections. They will be having a celebration, merging the original coffee shop with its predecessor, Reflections. And the beauty of it is they're on the foot of the Edmund Pettus Bridge along the Alabama River. Wonderful facility, right? Now, as you know, I am a professed Christian, right? And so we're commanded to be in it, but not of it. I do not lose sight of the fact that we are living in a dangerous world, and every day, just about now, more and more every day, examples of how evil people can be is in front of our eyes. You can't move for it. With the 24-hour news services that we have now, all kinds of evil, but it doesn't mean I have to participate in it, nor worship it, nor do I worship the system. I worship the Lord, right? And so be in it, but not of it. Love you. I'll see you tomorrow morning, the good Lord willing. We're going to get into a lot of, I'm going back to basics this year, people. Back to the basics. You know what I'm saying? Stay tuned for Fox News. They're up next on WHBB Selma, God willing. It is 9 o'clock.
An arraignment is in 2 hours in New York City. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 2 days after Venezuela.